Damn, Jeffrey Toobin. At least Pee Wee Herman was in an X-rated movie theater. I'm just saying.
Yeah, even the indignity of O.J. Simpson using you as a punchline, despite the fact O.J. Simpson, I didn't even know O.J. Simpson was out of jail, if I'm being completely honest. Jeffrey Toobin, CNN correspondent, or CNN news analyst, let's say it, and working for the New Yorker. As I've reported yesterday, he was in a Zoom meeting and he pulled his penis out. Now, the thing is, there's one update that I missed that I didn't get right, or didn't necessarily go that route in the video because it wasn't necessarily being reported at the time, even though it might have just been assumed. But the meeting, he didn't just whip it out. It wasn't just that. Because yesterday I kept asking, well, what was he doing? Like, did he just stand up and was he pissed off? Like, somebody said something in the meeting that he didn't particularly like, and he's like, I'll show her, and that type of stuff. Well, we found out what that detail was. And this freakness seems to be a trait of CNN correspondents. And I'm being tongue-in-cheek here, and I'll explain what I mean, though. But perverts seems to be an outshare on CNN. I don't know what this means for the other hosts, but from the standpoint of the networks, the freaks seem to be on CNN. Now, when I say this, I'm saying this jokingly. I put no negative marks on this. In fact, I don't think I have any feelings about this one way or the other. I think it's slightly funny. But part of me feels bad for the guy, and part of me thinks it's utterly hilarious. And the part of me that feels bad for the guy is ashamed that I think the story is utterly hilarious, even though, I'm sorry, it is. I don't even know how you get into that position. I could see you doing other stuff. Like, during my breaks, I tend to smoke, cigarettes. I don't smoke a huge amount of tobacco, but during segments or something like that. And even during this show, like, you may run a video and do something else around in the room and get back. So I get this notion of doing other stuff. But pulling your penis out, pulling your dick out, that just seemed a little weird to me. So we're going to get the last disturbing detail of what took place that day. And we're also going to go into a little bit of history in regards to how something similar to this happened once before for CNN anchor. Let's not keep this long. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you dig this content, please like, share, and subscribe. You can always support this content through PayPal or Patreon. This content is brought to you by you, and I appreciate you the opportunity to allow me to do it. This is Jeffrey. This is Jeffrey Toobin. Jeffrey Toobin is a CNN legal analyst, but he also works at the New Yorker. Jeffrey Toobin is having a bad day, or let's just say a bad week.
The case are remote. I mean, if you look at the law, it just doesn't seem like the judge has any basis on which to dismiss the complaint.
Okay. I wanted to give you just a general idea on how he sounds, his cadence, movements, and everything else. Zoom meeting, New Yorker, and there was another news organization. He gets up and he masturbates. Now, yesterday we thought he just pulled it out. No. It's clear by now. Apparently somebody did the extra reporting. They got to the bottom of it. They had those questions like I had those questions. Hey, why did he do? Why did he pull that out? Did he just stand up and just... Did he stand up? What did he do? But no. he did that. He did that. In my head, I have this image of women like, oh my God, Jeffrey! Oh, Toobin! That's what I have in my head anyway. Of course, he did apologize for masturbating on the Zoom work call. Once he found out that people were watching him doing that masturbation. People are watching you. They're your co-workers. And now they probably was, is he masturbating? I think he's masturbating. Oh my God, Jeffrey! Put it away! Put it away! Put it away. Defiling yourself like that. Yeah, it's not good. New Yorker suspends Jeffrey Toobin for masturbating on the Zoom call. Yesterday, this didn't say masturbating. Yesterday, this was basically saying exposing himself. The call was election simulation featuring New Yorker All-Stars. Toobin apologized for the embarrassingly stupid mistake. Now, masturbating is the new thing. Yeah, masturbating on a Zoom call. Unfortunate. CNN has had other people get caught in embarrassing situations, though. Toobin is not the only freak, the pervert, that they got on CNN. And in this very specific instance, I don't mean pervert as a negative. I cut it that way for the thing because that's the only thing that could fit in to try to communicate what I was trying to get at. I place no value on what he did, him getting caught for what he did, or anything else. It's just funny as a person. From the standpoint of the other gentleman, I place no value on this either. Whatever he was doing, it sounded like he was having a great night before he got caught. CNN has another guy, Richard Quest. I don't know if you remember Richard Quest. He has a British accent. Richard Quest, this cat, gets arrested. Right here. CNN personality Richard Quest was busted in Central Park early yesterday with some drugs in his pocket, a rope around his neck, and was tied to his genitals, and a sex toy in his boot, law enforcement sources said. Quest was initially busted for loitering, the source said. Aside from oddly configured rope, the search also turned up a sex toy inside his boot, a small bag of methamphetamines in his jacket pocket. It wasn't immediately clear what the rope was for. So he's there, rope around his cock, around his dick, and a thing around his neck. And he has drugs in his pockets. And a cop apparently catches him for loitering. And they're like, we're not entirely sure what the rope was for. It sounds like Richard Quest was involved in some kind of BDSM session. And he was going to have a great time before the cops showed up. CNN, New Yorker, up your game, dog. Up your game. I'll leave it here. Like I said, I didn't want this one to be long. This was just a heads up. Moral of the story, stop naming your children Jeffrey. Right, it doesn't end well. 2020, a year of the bad news Jeffries. Yeah. Stop naming your kid Jeffrey. Stop naming your kid Jeffrey. It's like Corey. Don't name your kid Corey. I couldn't imagine that. Can you imagine that? And like, what do you do after that? Like, you are in a meeting and you're talking to your fellow people at the meeting and you say, all right, guys, I'll be back. And you, oh, Jeffrey! Jeffrey! You're still on! What do you do with that? What do you do immediately after that? Like the moment that it's communicated that, hey, you're masturbating on camera with your fellow coworkers. Then what do you do rationally as a human being? It's a rough one, man. That's a rough one. But, of course, from a human level, it is funny. I'll leave it here. And like I said, what do you do immediately after you get caught? I mean, you can say, oh, God. And I would imagine you stay there for a bit. Do you communicate with the people who saw you? Do you send like a text message? Is it a group text message? Do you ask them, hey, can you not tell the boss about this? Like, what's the rational action in that moment? Do you just, yeah, that's a tough one, man. Honestly, that's a tough one. But funny, yes. And really curious about what do you do immediately after that. And God knows, hopefully, I'm never is on some kind of drug binge where I find out whatever you do, it's going to be communicated to human resources. You know that other people are going to talk about it. You know that all of those people in your circle, how many of them were there, watched, were horrified, and will be talking about it. And will forever discuss the day that they were there when Toobin defiled himself. Everybody will remember that day. He just whipped it out. And he just remorselessly just started whacking away. I was there. Sheila fainted. She just passed out. Yeah. But at some point, he'll be back. He'll be a CNN news analyst again. A little bit more exposed. But he'll be back. Like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and by the way, the reason I don't put a judgment on it one way or the other is because everyone does it. The only thing about it in this particular case is people watched. Anything outside of the typical context looks a little weird and funny. And so in this case, I would imagine this would be the same, especially since he's at work. I am more interested, believe it or not, in the reactions of the people that were around him, which is why I want to see the video. I want to see if somebody fainted and somebody screamed, "Oh, Jeffrey, put it away. Put it away." Like, share, and subscribe.